because of his carbon tariff. Now, you have to check the agenda. They call it a border adjustment.
Welcome to Sunday's video. Well, tomorrow is the election. A lot of people, 7.3 million people have already voted. They voted over Easter. So if you do the maths on that, there's about 40 million people live in Canada, right? There's only going to be so many of those vote. Let's say 30 million. No, let's say 30 million are allowed to vote. So 20 million might 25 million, let's say, vote, right? 7.3 million, it's almost a third of people have already voted already who could go out and vote. That is nutsoids. Anyway, both parties have released their budgets for after the election. Polyev is basically an investor and rebuild Canada. What can you do when you're so much in debt? You can only do so much, but his budget looks fiscally responsible. When you look at Carney's budget, it's mental. It's absolute. It's like in 4 years, we're going to be $49 billion in debt still. Now, the Chris Sims came on the radio from the Taxpayers Federation, and she talked about not only the budget that's been put forwards by Carney, but what we can expect in the future from a Liberal government as we move past the next 4 years. Have a listen, guys.
Kind of had this impression of, okay, if you're just a normal person and you casually watch the news and you're going to go vote, I think the general impression of Carney is that, oh, he's that banker guy. He's good with money. Turns out the banker is going to be worse with money than the drama teacher. He's going to put more money on the debt than Trudeau was even planning.
So yeah, she believes that the debt that he's going to put onto Canada is more than what Trudeau did. And really, what's that going to do? Is that going to fuel inflation even further?
Of course it will. And to your point exactly, I was listening to the other day, there's no such thing as government investing. It's spending. It's spending. Government does not have its own wealth generating machine under Parliament Hill that it is investing for you. This is your tax dollars going to government. And then if the government doesn't get enough, they then print money and then they borrow money. And this is what he's going to do. He is going to plunk $225 billion more on our credit card, on the debt. Like 62 billion one year, 60 billion the next, 55 the next. Even on year 4, he's finishing at a $48 billion deficit.
So Canada is just going to get lumped right into a massive debt with Mark Carney at the helm. And that's why we keep saying we're doing this for our children, because not only can they not afford a house, they can't, struggle to afford food, anything else that they need as necessities, gas to get to work. If EV mandates are mandated, then they won't be able to even afford to be able to buy a used car, and therefore they will be unable to work and contribute towards these taxes that are supposedly paying everybody out with government checks to live on. Anyway, she goes on about that. She goes on about the debt as well. So let's have a listen to that.
Just quickly on the debt so that people can wrap their head around it easier, okay? It would take you 30,000 years to count to 1 trillion. If you started right now, 30,000 years, that's how much debt we're in. The interest we pay on the debt is more than we spend on health care.
Yeah, it's crazy.
From the Fed.
Almost 50 billion.
The interest we pay on the debt, every nickel we all pay on the bloody GST is now going to the interest payment on the debt. That's how big this thing is. Okay, so just so people can grok that better. And to picture it, $1 billion builds you a small but nice new hospital. So every time you hear a politician say $1 billion, picture a brand new hospital. That's how much money we're talking about here. And so this is why we were pulling our hair out at the Taxpayers Federation at Carney's plan, because he's like, oh, I'm just going to dump gasoline on this debt fire. And that costs everybody more money. The element I picked out of the platform that I thought was really important to highlight is the carbon tariff. Remember when he was running for leadership, he wants something brand new. Folks, this is different from his industrial carbon tax, okay? It's separate and apart. His carbon tariff will cost us $500 million, $500 million. So I'll just describe it. Carney thinks carbon taxes are so important that when he looks around the world and finds a country that doesn't have one, that upsets him. That upsets him so much, Alex, he's going to impose a carbon tariff on imports.
Hold on. So that's a carbon tariff on top of the carbon tax on our own industry. So not only does Carney want to tax with a carbon tax our own industry, he also wants to restrict or make things unaffordable for things coming into Canada by a carbon tariff.
The stuff we buy here in Canada is going to cost $500 million more because of his carbon tariff. Now, you have to check the agenda. They call it a border adjustment. That's a tariff. Yeah. That's government talk for a tariff. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of fire here.
Okay, yeah. So if you were on the fence by now about voting for Mark Carney or for Pierre Poilievre or for that other guy who nobody's bothered about anymore, or that lady who gets drunk a lot, then yeah, if you even do a little bit of research, you'll know that the Liberals are not worth another 4 years. That is for sure. It's going to hurt the pockets of Canadians. And yeah, if he gets in, we're going to find out. And then we can come back to videos like this and say, I told you so. That's if these channels haven't been deleted by then by the censorship that the Liberal government want to push forwards. Anyway, let's have a look at your comments. Before we hit the comments, this afternoon, around about 12 till 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock plus, Poilievre's going to do a quick visit to Pickering, which is the town next door to my town, Ajax. So I'm going to try and do a live stream from there today. Yeah. Oh no. I'll see how it goes. I try not to break anything this time. I broke some stuff last time doing it, but I'll try just do a chill live stream. And let's just see what's going on in Pickering this afternoon with Poilievre visiting. The other thing as well, Vancouver, I saw this on X. Vote NDP to stop the Conservatives, someone was posting. These are all seats with NDP incumbents, yet what's happening is that NDP voters are voting Liberal to try and stop the Conservatives, not knowing that they are actually helping them by splitting the vote. But when you look at it, look, Conservatives are soaring away in an NDP area because, yeah, BC is NDP. It's a big NDP place if you don't know it. So yeah, that's some good news on a poll at least. Anyway, let's go to the big video of the week. 27,000 plus views. Like that's a viral video for me, and it's about the young Canadians plead to all Liberals voters about the election to vote Conservative and not vote Liberal. Yeah, it was, yeah, there's so many comments. So I don't think I've even got through them all yet. There was nearly 1,000 comments on it. Like you guys are really, really on the ball when it comes to what you actually want from this election. I just wish all Canadians were on the ball like you guys are. Ian said,
just imagine your son, he is now 50, asking his parents, 73 and 75, to vote one time in their life for Conservative so their two sons can take back their life, finance and the right to hunt with legal hunting rifles, so their own children can grow in a safe country like they and maybe someday buy their own house. That 50-year-old hard-working Canadian is me. They responded. We decided to not vote. I'm heartbroken. I don't listen. They don't listen. I don't understand boomers.
Well, that's a shame. That's a bad start to the comments, Ian. It's just a shame they don't vote. Why don't they vote? What if you got the vote? Go out and do your vote. Why not vote? You can tell them enough information that they can vote that good for you, Ian, for what you want, and they still won't vote. That's not great. Wolf.
I'm a boomer and I have always voted Conservative. My 3 kids are in their 40s and they also all vote Conservative. They are also spreading the word to their friends. This is a blue wave from Toronto.
Well, it's great to hear from Toronto. Great to hear. Where we're Durham region. We're a bit like you guys in Toronto. We're in a really horrible, liberally, well, Mark Holland's area. To be honest, he won Ajax, and yeah, it's pretty annoying, pretty annoying going on the town Facebook group here. That's for sure. It really winds me up. RM said,
I'm a boomer and I have voted for their generation. I've had a good run and it's their time now.
it doesn't mean to say that you're going to give anything up either, because what will happen with Carney is he's just gonna stop everyone from driving your gas cars. He's going to go heavy on carbon taxes. If you're on a fixed income, like a pension, that pension won't go up as much as carbon tax and all the food prices and everything else. So not only are you voting for the kids, you're also voting for yourselves. And unless you're in a really high-powered, really great wage-paying job, you really don't want to be voting for Liberal. If you got money offshore in a Bermuda or a Isle of Man, I know I saw a rebel at Isle of Man looking at a house that Brookfield have got an office in. It's a rental house. It's like, that's just how can we let these things happen in our countries, that big businesses just don't have to pay tax, yet just the everyday working class guy, girl, woman has to pay tax, has to pay their fair share. Who's paying for the country? Who's paying for healthcare and everything? Just think of that. Just think of that tax money that could go into healthcare. Well, if they didn't go and send it abroad all the time or send it off to some stupid thing that they've got going. Anyway. Robert said,
I voted CPC. I am very encouraged that young people are taking this initiative. Too many boomers are in their own echo chambers. I have adult kids too. Life was not easy in the early 80s at the start of my career, but it's far worse today. This negative cycle must end.
Yeah, it was tough for us in the 80s. We used to always miss bills at the bank. Always miss bills and never have enough money in it to cover it. And then you guys like me, the bank would send you a £30, well, $30 here, $30 letter saying, hey, we've not paid this bill because you don't have enough money in your bank, but we've taken $30 off you for this letter, for your $25 bill. Like, what? How does that work out? Why don't you just pay me bill and then tell me we paid your bill but now you're a bit overdrawn? Don't send me a letter and charge me money for a letter. Yeah, that's how bad it used to be in the 80s for me and maybe a lot of people. Realist Matty's finest.
Thank you for this insight. I am not on any other social media or other than YouTube. It's heartening to hear that these young Canadians speak from the heart. It's their future on the line, and it's in all our best interest to represent them on election day while representing ourselves as well. Let's make the messaging loud and clear to all the wealthy globalist elites around the world that our future lives and livelihoods are not for sale.
Well said. Well said. No, we're not for sale. Definitely not. Well, some of them are. Yeah, all the red signs that you see, they're for sale. They love tax dodging globalists, but we're not so keen, are we, guys? Dudley said,
those 3 videos say all. Conservative has got my vote. Love you kids. I'll do my part for you.
Thank you. Jackie Birch said,
like and subscribe. Don't forget.
This is awesome that our younger generation is getting involved. They fully know that home ownership is next to impossible, along with getting a good job.
Not only home ownership, but actually renting a decent house or an apartment is also really expensive, as you know, Jackie. Nana Five Boys. Cool name.
I voted for my kids and grandkids and all of the Canadian younger generation, so they have what I have.
Imagine typing that on Facebook, though, nowadays. Hey, I voted for my kids. And then you get some liberals saying, hey, don't call them kids. Kids is a type of goat. You have to call them children. We all know what kids are, guys. We all know what kids are. We don't need no liberal crazy head, fuzzy blue hair to tell us like how to speak, like people kind and garbage like that. We don't need to be told what to do anymore. We're sick of being told what to do. Being told what to do is definitely 2015 to 2025. Anything after that, no, we don't want to be told what to do at all anymore. Forget about it. Jay said,
all of this is so true. It is so disheartening to witness the sheer ignorance of the majority of the Liberal activists who are based on their personal feelings, not facts.
Yeah, I think they are activists, aren't they? They really are. You see them all at these protests and everything. They are the most violent, vile people I've ever seen. I've gone to quite a few conservative-based protests. There is no, the only screaming and shouting and the rudeness and horrible people are the opposition to these protests. They're the nasty people always, and they're always the ones saying, "Oh, we're for love and all this like inclusivity and everything." The last thing they want is inclusivity. They want separation and division so that they can get their way, and that's it, just their way only. Jim said,
I'm a senior, 7 years old, and I voted for Conservative all my life, and nothing's going to change that, and I'm doing it for Canada.
Yeah, we're all there. Let's just do this for Canada, guys. Chris said,
Kids, if your parents are Liberal, plead with them to get in touch with their common sense and vote Conservative. I have kids and grandkids, and Conservatives are the only option at this time, as I vote with my love for them.
Will said,
I have no kids and am Liberal-minded. I'm 65 years old. I have never been selfish, so I voted for the Conservative for the generations that are behind me. Let's bring home for them.
Let's bring some change for the children. Shane said,
If you haven't voted already on April 28th, vote for an amazing Canadian. Vote Conservative to save your way of life and your jobs on April 28th. Vote Conservative.
I think you said vote Conservative enough times there. Gray said,
As a retired guy, I want to say well done, young guys. You seem to have got your head screwed on straight. Congratulations.
I'll try to get through these now because we're going to have to get off to... we're going to have a live stream soon, I think. Dorbash said,
You know it's getting bad in Canada when you have young adults pleading to their parents and grandparents to do the right thing so they can have a life on their own.
Parankajujahaya said,
Love it. Seeing the youth coming out with these statements is fantastic.
and we're going to finish on bark, 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 bark.
It's not just young people. There is no future in this country as it stands right now for just about everyone that isn't independently wealthy.
It's a great point, yeah. If you're not absolutely loaded with money, why are you voting Liberal? You're just voting to make the richer more richer. Anyway, see you guys later maybe. If not, see you on Monday, voting day. Get out there and vote. Cheers, guys.